You're listening to the Veterans Heritage Hour on the Vets on Media Network. You're listening to the Entrepreneurs Radio Network show on the Vets on Media Network.
I looked out this morning and the sun was gone. Turned off.
Shane's gone. Go ahead.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're listening into and tuning in this lovely day as we're experiencing some great weather here in Arizona. We're coming to you live with the Entrepreneurs Radio Network. My name is Brian Hazelgren. I'm here with Shane Chance, my co-host on the show. And just so that you are aware, this show is completely 100% dedicated to any of you out there who are entrepreneurs, who are thinking about starting your own business, who already have launched your company, you're ready to expand into different markets or even dramatically increase your sales. Even if you need capital, if you need strategic partners or a business plan, want to explode your marketing campaign, or even figure out the social media world out there, this is a show dedicated to you, the entrepreneurs of the world. You've tuned into the right place if you're looking for any of those items. This is your network, your show to talk about where we have lots of cool ideas and insightful strategies, really meant to help you drive a business that you're proud of and that you can leave a legacy for. Like I said, I'm Brian Hazelgren. I have Shane Chance with us as well. And I'll bring Shane in just a moment. Oh, there she is right there. Hi, Shane. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Brian?
Wonderful. Glad to have you
Excellent.
on as usual.
Thank you.
So far, we've had, actually, when I was coming to the station, I just need to throw this out there. You know, I was in an area of the country yesterday where a blizzard went through and saw several accidents. So as I saw some of the cars spinning around and it was probably 28 degrees and a complete whiteout, I was thinking, you know, I can't wait to get on the plane to get back to Arizona so that I don't have to worry about the snow and the ice. So I'm glad I'm back here. And it's always better when Shane's in studio with us, but she's also on the road today and she's calling in. So Shane, we're glad you're here. Thanks for your presence as always, and your insight and your wisdom. It's going to be fun talking about what we have today.
Thanks, Brian. And obviously, I'm glad you're back safe and sound as well.
Thank goodness. I was wondering if I was going to get back safe and sound, or if I was even going to get out of the airport yesterday.
But you were.
We got it. We nailed it and got home here. You know, as we always do, as we begin the show, want to dedicate the show and thank all of those in our military who have served so bravely and honorably, who have sacrificed more than we can ever imagine. So thank you to our veterans and to their family members, and also to our active duty military personnel who are serving our country and keeping us safe and keeping our liberties and freedom safe as well. And so that we can wave that banner of liberty and freedom anytime we want to here in America. We appreciate all of your service, all of the great things that you have done and continue to do to keep us free. I also want to dedicate the show once again to any of the entrepreneurs who are listening in, who are pretty much dedicated in a little bit different way in making a huge difference in what we do in this lifetime, because they've started companies, created products, created services that actually go out and solve problems. So also dedicate this show to all of the entrepreneurs, because Shane and I view the entrepreneurs of the world as the backbone of what truly matters. It's the backbone of American business. It's the backbone of lots of countries with their business actions as well. But they create millions of jobs. Entrepreneurs create a lot of jobs, and they come up with innovative solutions to problems. So we're always excited to be on the show together, both Shane and I, as we discuss some of the things that that we're excited about. Number one, even some of the things that plague us in business, and see if we can weave through these shark-infested waters once in a while together and hopefully give some insightful things to you. Last week, Shane and I last show, Shane and I discussed two interesting things that we also received a lot of comments on later on after the show. The first was mobile first versus mobile friendly. And one of the areas that we focused on pretty heavily was that we need to, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, figure out the best platform possible so that we can put our brand, our message, our products, our services out, and stop with the idea that, oh yeah, it'd be nice to have a mobile friendly site. We talked pretty specifically about having a mobile first attitude versus a mobile friendly. This is where many people are driving. And one of the statistics that we even brought up last week was that there are currently 1.5 billion smartphones in the world today. In the next couple of years, ladies and gentlemen, in the next 2 years, it's predicted that there will be 2.5 billion. So another billion smartphones are going to be flooded into the market, where those individuals anywhere in the world can pick up your brand, your message, your product, your service, and look at it. So that's where we have to really start thinking heavily about mobile first versus mobile friendly. We also touched just briefly on how entrepreneurs are coming up with some great ideas and they're solving market needs. Those needs that are being solved, you and I as consumers see that on a daily basis, but we also as business owners need to figure out that exact spot where we can fit into the market, but not only just fit in, but make a huge difference. That's why entrepreneurs do this. We come up with a problem that we see in the market. We come up with ways to solve that problem, create a product, create a service, roll it out, and build a business. So, which all of that now leads into what we wanted to talk about today. Today, we want to focus on the explosion of social media and how social media has, in some cases, taken over our lives. I have some acquaintances where they spend a lot of time every day on social media, probably way too much time. But I also have, with our own businesses that Shane and I operate, we're still building our online presence. And as we talked together about what we could give as a message today, we realized that we too still have a long ways to go and a lot to learn about social media, how to put our brand out there, how to put the products and services that we offer out there in the right way. But what we've learned is that through a lot of statistics, that social media is skyrocketing. There's really no end in sight. And as you think about what the trends are with social media, I thought what Shane and I could do is just start the show off today just to get your mindset in the right frame, because there are some unbelievable numbers that we all need to be aware of. These numbers that I have in my hands right here come from several different articles, and they start painting a picture of how really what social media is doing and how it is literally skyrocketing. I want to read a few of these to you, and then Shane and I can comment on those as well. But let me start off by saying this first one, global e-commerce sales top $1.2 trillion in social commerce. Now those sales, 1.2 trillion, are expected to increase dramatically in the next little while, because here's why. Marketers have successfully gained 70% of their new customers through social networks. 70% of the new customers that are coming into small business, they met through some form or frame of social media. 74% of consumers rely on social networks to guide purchase decisions. 74%. I mean, really? 55% of consumers share purchases that they made on their social network. 43% of consumers are more likely to buy a new product when learning about it on a social media file. Okay, going on here. Social advertising for mobile ads is now at close to $95 billion annually. With a B. Social advertising marketers or companies advertise on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. When Shane and I looked at these two, or at least that statistic, I threw out, well, probably more people are looking at YouTube than they are on Facebook. Well, that's actually not true. Social advertising is actually on Facebook more than it is YouTube. It's 92% of the dollars spent are on Facebook. 35% are spent on YouTube. On LinkedIn, it's 24%, and on Twitter, 23%. But you got to listen to this next statistic. The true giant that remains out there in social media with an average revenue per user is actually 6 times higher than Facebook. It's Google. Google's average revenue per user is $45. Facebook's is $7.24, Twitter $3.55. Last couple of things here that we can throw out as statistics is that users are spending an average of 2 hours and 42 minutes per day on their mobile devices through their social networks. 60% of social media time is spent on the mobile device. And then mobile video consumption is increasing 22%. And it'll be increasing by 50% in the next couple of years. 74% of all internet traffic will be video by 2017. And video is shared 1,200% more times than links with a text combined. So, social media. Shane, you and I have discussed this quite a bit, and we've talked a lot about both the good, the bad, and the ugly of social media. We want to talk at first in this first segment about some of those statistics and why we as business owners need to be engaged in social media, number one. But number two, where are we putting our attention and our time for building brands that we have on social media, and why have we kind of focused on one area over another, and what are some of the results that you and I have seen so far? Can we go over that for just a minute?
Absolutely. I remember when you and I sat down and talked about this, I thought I must still be out in the twilight zone, because it just never occurred to me, and I'm not going to admit how old I am, despite the fact I just had a birthday. I'm not going to admit that. But, the whole thing is
Where's the birthday song? Is that supposed to be queued up?
Yeah, but anyway, but I wanted to really just, I was stunned. And the reason I guess I was stunned is because I'm not one that uses my mobile device the same way that, that a lot of the rest of the world does. I'm much more comfortable sitting in front of my computer if I'm going to pull some of that stuff up. But this is obviously the way the trends are going. And it's not in just a little movement, it's a huge movement that's going in that direction. And I will be the first to admit, I am not on top of that ball when it comes to this type of stuff. You and I talked about how we definitely need to up our game when it comes to the social media aspect, and we either need to create the ability to do some of this ourselves or find those that can help us with it, because this is the way it's going. With interaction, with sales, with everything.
Okay, I want to jump back to those first couple of statistics I read off. Marketers have successfully gained 70% of new customers via or through social networks. 74% of consumers rely on social networks to guide their purchase decision, and 43% of consumers are more likely to buy a new product when learning about it on a social media file. We've seen that with our Facebook pages. We've seen that with our websites. We've seen that with the Twitter accounts that we have, the blogs that we put out. We've seen that in several different areas. So for one of the areas that seems to be kind of a driving force, like we read about with the dollars, advertising dollars that are going into Facebook and YouTube, there's a lot of business owners who look at building their brand and they're forgetting about the online presence. Well, when you start looking at numbers like that, as you pointed out, that it was stunning how high these numbers are. But if marketers or businesses are successfully getting new clients, new prospects, new customers, and that's at the rate of 70%, then why wouldn't we as small business owners put a whole lot of time and effort into building our social media platforms, number one. Number two, it doesn't cost a whole lot of money to build these. I mean, we've built Facebook pages, we've built websites, we've built, we've Twitter accounts, our LinkedIn areas. They take a little bit of time, but it's not like a huge investment. So Shane, and some of the things that we've also done with, 70% of new customers coming into a business, we haven't seen that number yet in what we're doing, but we're starting to see a lot of people sharing the radio show. We're starting to see people purchase more of our books. We're starting to see people become more interested in following what we're saying and understanding business. Have you heard of, maybe the more pointed question is, if we read that statistic of 70% of new customers are coming into small business through social networks, have you seen any companies out there that are at least that high? And if so, are there, what industries are really starting to lead the way in the social media charge?
Well, entire companies are wrapped around the social media world. We have now moved out of a brick and mortar to a click and order society. That is just the way it is. And we're seeing that phenomenally through the industries, regardless of what most of them are. Unless you have an actual hands-on service that you have to physically provide, everything is through social media. And even at that rate, they're still advertising that way. Even if a person needs to physically be present, they're still advertising on social media. And Brian, I think what surprised me, not just the numbers that surprised me, but the fact that we are so willing to go out there and trust the opinion of people we've never even met and that we don't even know.
Yeah.
That's a huge leap from where we are. We used to go and talk to our close friends and those people whose opinions that we knew and valued and trusted because we knew those people. And now we are literally reading statistics and feedback and information from people we've never met, and we're taking their word that what they say is viable.
Yeah, and we see that a lot in products that we as consumers order all the time. That pops up on the screen. How many people reviewed this? Oh, there's 863 people, and out of 5 stars, they get 2 stars. Okay, I don't want that one. Well, here's one that has 622 people that reviewed it and commented, and they got 5 stars. Well, they may be less numbers of people that actually reviewed it, but for some reason they got 5 stars over 2. Then at least I do, I start looking at that and saying, oh, well, I probably ought to get the one that has a 5 stars then, because I'll waste my money if I get one with more people that only give it 2 stars. What was the reasons behind that? Sometimes they don't always provide that. All we see is how many reviews and really what number of stars they get, or number of bars, up to 5 usually. And we're basing our decisions off of that.
So it is a little deceptive, I think, but we do trust what we're hearing more and more through social media because so much is happening out there through that.
All right, I want to show, read one more interesting little tidbit that we saw about social media and the explosion of social media. This article comes from Euro RSG Worldwide PR of North America. It says online social networking has become part of our culture so quickly, it's easy to forget how new it is and how much it's a work in progress. Let me say it again. It's easy to forget just how new it is and how much it's still a work in progress. People are still experimenting with the different options and finding ways to make it a part of their life. One of these areas is that people forget the images of the sadness of social media as well. Smart consumers are mixing and matching the tools that come available to meet their social needs. Electronic tools are making them even more socially active, just as the telephone did back in the day. Well, that actually leads to the word of mouth discussion that we were just talking about. In the same article, it says word of mouth has always been the most powerful marketing tool. What social media has done is dramatically increase the scale, velocity, and immediacy with which people can influence each other and create the biggest revolution to hit our industry since television. Okay, that's pretty interesting. That's actually a powerful statement. But when we come back around to this discussion after we take a little break, Shane, why don't we also cover kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly of social media? We've talked about business statistics and how social media is really driving brands and driving sales, and 70% of consumers are coming into small business because of social media. Let's also focus a little bit when we come back from the break about how social media is, how can I put this? It's not always the end all, and that there are some areas that we also have to be aware of outside of business where we have to look at the good side of social media and the bad side. Good side meaning more awareness and building brands and selling products. The bad side of things getting taken advantage of or bad partnerships, or sometimes we drop our barriers. I want to talk about separating social media for business versus social media for our personal lives as well. So is that a deal? Can we cover that when we get back? You ready to do that?
That's awesome.
All right.
Not ready.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Brian Hazelgren. Shane Chance is with me as usual. This is the Entrepreneurs Radio Network. We're glad you're here with us today. We'll be right back.
Veterans served us. Now it's time we serve them. As a veteran of Afghanistan and Iraq, as well as a current military member deployed abroad, I would like to take a minute of your time to tell you about Patriot Hills of New York. Patriot Hills of New York is a nonprofit organization providing support to veterans and their families. They partner veterans in need with over 65 health and wellness organizations, community groups, as well as philanthropic foundations providing no or low-cost services. They've helped over 400 veterans through confidential referral services, assistance with veterans issues, employment placement, as well as educational opportunities. If you need assistance or just want to help veterans by donating your time or services, contact them at info@patriothills.org. Again, that's info@patriothills.org. Visit patriothillsnewyork.com for more information about their services or how you can donate. Our veterans deserve no less. We can give it to them, and you can help. Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey, everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Breaker, 19. How about that bandit? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face to face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
Would you like to own a thriving business and help employ local veterans? The Vetraplex Handyman Construction and Landscape business is the opportunity you've been waiting for. The Vetraplex is your gateway to an affordable startup business with 0% financing for qualifying owners. By owning a Vetraplex franchise, you will be hiring veterans, providing them both income and opportunity, while at the same time providing your customers a way to say, thank you for your service to our nation's veterans. For more information, visit vetraplex.org. Again, that's vetraplex.org or call 928-284-2022.
You're listening to the Entrepreneurs Radio Network show on the Vets on Media Network.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Hazelgren, along with Shane Chance. You are listening to the Entrepreneurs Radio Network show. Today, we're covering social media, the good things about social media and the tools that are available to us as small business owners that we all need to take advantage of. But we're also now leading into some of the areas that are a little bit gray, maybe even a little bit darker, the good, the bad, and the ugly of social media. I want to cover that in this particular segment with Shane and maybe tee it up here by saying that we're very excited about utilizing social media in our businesses. And we want to have the type of tools available to us that will help drive our brand to better awareness, help drive more sales. We also want to have a place for people to post good things about our company if they've had a good experience. We like to have a way to be able to tell the world really about what we're doing through some of the other social media platforms. But sometimes we let our guard down. Sometimes we actually can get taken advantage of. We can get into bad partnerships, personal or business. Sometimes those barriers get dropped down, and maybe it's just because we just want to be accepted. Sometimes we also overlook some of those critical factors. And having been working with Shane for so long now and understanding really where she has built her professional career on defending and protecting women, Shane, a lot of times women also want to be seen equal as men, and that can be kind of a problem in social media because what happens there is, in my opinion, just listening to a lot of things that you've trained on and taught about over these years, that people end up dropping down their barriers and ending up getting into bad partnerships. Let's talk a little bit about that. What have you seen in the social media side of things as it relates to your work in overcoming abuse and some of the other life challenges that women have run into? Is social media driving any of this? And what do we need to do to be protected from it?
Social media, yeah, is definitely driving a huge part of this. And it's kind of interesting even to see the change in social media. When it first came out, it was kind of funny because everybody just wanted to air their dirty laundry on social media, which was a little surprising to me. I'm not one to share that much of my personal life, but it became a no-holds-barred scenario, and people were just really putting it all out there. Now we've kind of seen a shift in that where they have changed from putting it all out there to putting out there what they want people to hear and what they want people to know, which may or may not be true. So one of the things that I found that we're dealing with, especially with social media, is being able to determine whether or not the information that we're actually seeing and reading is really what is. So we have a responsibility when it comes to social media. And I'm going to talk about, whether personal or business, we still have a responsibility. Yes, as women, we want to be seen equal to men, not that we have the same build as them or the same macho, whatever type scenarios. It's more we want to be recognized for the fact that we have valuable input, that we have skills that are equal to theirs. And maybe in some areas we surpass them just like they do us in other areas. And that's okay. I think that's where all the whole balance comes in. But in social media, one of the things that we lose is social common sense. I think that's an area where we get so caught up in that need to be accepted and that need to prove ourselves, be it male or female, but I think especially from a female perspective, that we sometimes lose that common sense and we overlook certain red flags or factors that are very, very critical, whether it's in our personal life or in our business life, that we need to be aware of.
Well, and on that particular point, I also want to bring up another article that we found that was kind of interesting on that exact issue. Americans have dramatically integrated social networking tools into their lives. Euro RSCG Worldwide is one of the world's leading advertising and marketing agency networks, and they have conducted a study on how people use the ever-changing options in social and online media available today. According to this study, their world is expanding and narrowing at the same time because of social media's, they call it hyper-localization quotient. What that basically means is that people are more willing to behave online in ways they would not in person. This has both emboldened users and led them to inappropriate behavior. I mean, that was an interesting little study. That was a study that they asked 1,228 social media users. Now, if that's the case, people are more willing to behave online in ways that they wouldn't in person, and that it's led them to inappropriate behavior. What is that all about? Does that play a role here in what you're talking about?
Well, it's a phenomenally large role. If you want to take it from a personal standpoint and what I deal with in my business and the individuals that I work with, you can become anyone online. You can create a persona that is totally different than what you may be. I actually was laughing because I had seen this. If I had thought about it before the show, I would have sent it to you so that we could kind of maybe put it up there. But it showed this picture, which I think encompasses the whole idea behind what can potentially happen in social media. It had a picture of a prison cell, and you can see all the prison bars, and underneath it, it says, and he told me he lived in a gated community.
Okay. A little bit different image of a gated community than I'm sure that most people would think of. All right, that's good.
But the concept behind that is a very, very real one, because we can become anyone we want on social media. And that's the one thing I think that we have lost in the process, is that we do not get to have that one-on-one personal interaction with people that we used to have. That personal touch that allowed us to look someone in the eye and shake someone's hand and get a feel for who they really are and what they really represent and what their agenda is.
Yeah, in fact, this saying. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I know you and I spend a lot of time in business meetings with that personal interaction, and I think that if it's possible, that is an invaluable part of business. So even though we can do that social media aspect of it, and it is obviously an invaluable part of it, I think it's critical that we try to get to know people still as human beings. And remember, we're not just dealing with what do you want to call it? We're not just dealing with a statistic or a number or a resume on a screen or whatever. There are people behind this, and we need to develop as positive a relationship as we can through asking the right questions and finding the right answers and trusting our instinct when we're moving forward with people that we really don't know.
Absolutely. In fact, this same study that we referenced earlier here, the 1,228 social media users that were asked a lot of questions. One of the very things actually at the top of the list, although it says although more than half of the respondents, 53.5%, have met new people through electronic or social media, face-to-face interaction is still the gold standard. And I think that's one area that we've always got to be aware of and think through as we're utilizing social media to help build our brand, to help build our business, help to sell our products and our services. There's nothing like Shane just mentioned. There's nothing like the good old interaction, face to face, shaking someone's hand, looking them square in the eye, seeing if you can actually trust this person or trust that company. And I think that as we do that, as we go about in our daily activities, and again, separating business from personal social media is a key area as well. Before the show started, Matt and I were talking in the studio, and we were discussing how sometimes when people put things out on social media, like stupid stuff, where they're at a party and it ends up somewhere on their Facebook page, and well, okay, now that transcends over to the business. Now we're crossing over into business lines, because what if your boss happens to see what you did at the party or what you posted from the party and made some stupid comment? I know of people that have been fired because of social media and things that they have posted online, whether it's their Facebook account, wherever it may be, it doesn't matter where it is. They ended up getting fired because of a comment or several comments they made, some inappropriate behavior that they were involved in, whatever it may be, even pictures that they had posted. So we really do need to be careful, because the social media side, the policies, I guess, really what we have to look at as small business owners, we're not only just looking at how do we build our brand and sell our products and services, we also have to look at a really critical area, and that is being cognizant of the fact that we'll have employees who may say or do something online that could also harm our own brand. Adam.
I think it'd be good as well as to make sure that you put some type of social media policy in,
right?
Like if you have an employee handbook of some sort or whatnot, make sure that you lay out the expectation of the company's social media policies, both whether you're on or off company hours. So
excellent point.
You got to look at it as, if you're working for a company, and even though you might not be, quote, on hours working, you're still representing the company when you're out in the public's eye.
That's an excellent point. Shane, with some of the training that you've done over the years too, how does that fit in?
Well, that is so very true. And there's a love-hate relationship that goes on in social media. It can be your best friend, but it can also be your worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of employers that are now going out and checking the social medias to see exactly what you said, Brian. And they're looking to see, what does this person look like, and what does this person behave like when they're not around the office? Because just as Adam said, you are still a representative of their company, irregardless of whether or not you're on the clock. And they know that. And they're going to expect appropriate behavior. And if what you're showing outside of the office, even though it shouldn't matter, and back in the past it didn't matter, because like you said, no one could see that. Nobody could monitor that behavior, but now they can.
Right.
And there's a lot of research that goes into what's going on in the hiring process.
It's now out there front and center.
Absolutely. You're there whether you want to be or not. Anything that you put on there can and will be used against you.
Yes, it will be. Great point. So one other thing that we had talked about before coming onto the show here is that there were literally 5 takeaways, and I just want to focus on 3, and then we'll cut to break and then wrap things up on the social media explosion that we're all seeing. But this particular study said that social media is now a vital consideration in many communication strategies in any country where digital media are accepted and accessible to citizens and consumers. Okay, I agree with that. The next one is social media enables consumers to be more socially collaborative, to share easily across media types, but users now expect quick responses and clear payoffs. The underlying question is, as usual, what's in it for me? Then the last point here that they pointed out was that the more interactions that happen online with no direct offline contact, the more likely people are to tilt towards extreme behavior. It's important to blend both online and offline elements, like we've discussed already. When we come back, I do want to cover, Shane, some of the list of 5 things that we can do to protect ourselves and our companies online and through social media. We've got 5 kind of little interesting tidbits that we came up with that I think you're all going to find very interesting, and how it can help you in your social media life and the way you're running your personal and your business areas of social media. For now, again, I'm Brian Hazelgren. I'm here with Shane Chance. You're listening to the Entrepreneurs Radio Network show. Be right back.
Would you like to own a thriving business and help employ local veterans? The Vetraplex Handyman Construction and Landscape business is the opportunity you've been waiting for. The Vetraplex is your gateway to an affordable startup business with 0% financing for qualifying owners. By owning a Vetraplex franchise, you will be hiring veterans, providing them both income and opportunity, while at the same time providing your customers a way to say, thank you for your service to our nation's veterans. For more information, visit vetraplex.org. Again, that's vetraplex.org, or call 928-284-2022.
Breaker, 19. How about that bandit? You got them ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
You're listening to the Entrepreneurs Radio Network show on the Vets On Media Network.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Hazelgren along with Shane Chance. You are tuned into the Entrepreneurs Radio Network show. We are discussing today the power behind and the explosion behind social media, how it helps build our personal brand, our business brand, how it helps us sell products and services, but also how it can be a negative influence if not treated the right way. If it's a beast that's out of control, then it can literally ruin your life. However, we do have a couple of things we want to discuss in this last segment here about how to protect yourself when you're involved in social media, both on a personal level and a business level. And Shane and I came up with a list of 5 things that we think are pretty important. In fact, just so that we didn't have enough time to write the article, but we're going to write an article on these 5 things on how to protect yourself on social media after all the things that we've been involved in and the social media content that we have out there, plus lots of emails and phone calls from not just listeners from the show, but personal contacts and business people that we're involved in. How we can literally protect our company, our brand, and our personal lives online. And here's the 5 things that we came up with, and Shane and I can chat about those. First one is don't overshare. Don't give them too much information. The second one is beware of rewards that require some type of private information that you have to give out. Rewards or awards. The third one is don't believe everything that's on social media, because people can embellish the truth quite often. Do a background check. Fourth one, make sure actions match their words. And the fifth one, trust your instincts. Shane, those 5 things that we came up with and the way we will end up finalizing this article that we'll post online pretty soon here, do one of those stand out more than the others? And if so, why?
Wow.
Was that an unfair question?
Yeah, because it's really hard to narrow it down to just one. I think if I were to base it on my own personal experience, I'm always gonna come back to the thing that stands out the most to me, which is trust your instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of, to me, 4 and 5 kind of go together. And trust your instincts, but also if their words are not and their actions are not matching, you have got to trust their actions. People will subconsciously, whatever it is really in the back of their minds, that's what they're going to react or respond to. So they may tell you or promise you all kinds of things, but if they aren't following it up with the proper action, you gotta trust those actions.
Okay, I would agree with that. Yeah, we see that a lot in business where, in fact, we're also involved in a lot of different negotiations and agreements that we've drawn up with other organizations or individuals over the years, that we've seen that very thing, that it may not be even on social media. It's really what is behind the person who's saying those things and then acting out in a different way, whether it's in person or whether it's online. I think we're always going to be running into that, but probably more important, like you've pointed out, is that we just need to figure out in our own minds and our own hearts, really, what is this all about? Is if I'm feeling something negative, there's got to be a reason why. Well, maybe it's because we haven't dug deep enough into someone's personal background or a company's background. If that uncomfortable feeling is there, it's there for a reason. And that gets back to your point of trusting your instinct.
And there has got to be a fair give and take of information. When you talked about the first one of don't overshare, when we were discussing that, that's a huge one, both in personal and in business. People are information seekers, and they're going to either do it because they're wise and they know that they need to have that information in order to make a sound decision.
Right.
But they're also going to be seeking information if they're a predator. Now, whether that's a financial predator or a predator of another sort, doesn't matter. That information is what they're seeking. And so you always want to be careful that it's a fair give and take of information, and that you feel confident that you can trust the information that's being shared.
Right. One thing that we haven't even brought up. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think that that's another big one too, is not to give out too much information.
Mm-hmm.
At least not too soon.
Okay. I would agree with that. Since we're talking about social media and we are discussing, let's go back to the good side for just a minute here. And we talked about how to protect yourself, but all of our listeners out there, if you would do us a huge favor and go onto Facebook and like our Entrepreneurs Radio Network site, we would love you for that. And not only will we think you're awesome to do that for us, but make a comment or two. There's also I think Shane and I are going to be going over some of those comments, and I don't know if you can see this on the on the video portion, but we're also going to be giving away some of our books. Shane's book, Story of Lies, and my book, one of my books, Everlasting Wisdom. Go on there, like the page, like our Facebook page. Love to send you a copy. We'll choose the winners here as we get going into after the show. But we think it's important for us to build our brand with our new show, and the way this is rolling out, we're getting a lot of followers and likes and people who are seeming to enjoy this short hour. It seems to go by way too fast. But if you would go online and give us your thoughts on how the show's going forward, what you would like to see on the show coming up, what we can improve on. We're always up to improving. But I think maybe even more importantly, just some of those comments that you may post out there. We'd love to send you a copy of one of our books. So that'll be a free book coming to you.
We want to know what you guys want to know. We want to know what the listener wants to know. I mean, we can bring to you all kinds of information that we think is important and relative, but I think it's important to us to know what our listeners feel is relative too. So we'd love to have that kind of feedback. Absolutely.
You know, and one of the things that we're working on too is some video marketing campaigns. As we all know, based on what we said earlier, I'm going to read that statistic one more time. 74% of all internet traffic will be video by 2017. So in 2 years, 74%, it's estimated that 74% of all internet traffic will be on video. Again, our last show, we talked about mobile devices, and this show we're talking about really anywhere on social media. But Shane, 74% of all internet traffic is going to be in video, and then video is shared 1,200% more times than links with just a link with text combined. People want to see video. They want to see the content.
We better get going.
Well, the good news is we are working on a lot of videos. There's some new things that we're coming up with, a YouTube series that we'll be releasing here shortly on entrepreneurship. And we have some 2 new books that are coming out. Plus, we also have a merchandise and retail line that we're also working on. And all of these things will be shared on social media, tied also not just to Entrepreneurs Radio Network, but to also into Vets on Media and to some of our other brands that we have, like Go Vets Foundation for our veterans and the YES program for our high school kids. But those are some of the new things that are coming up. And so as we lead into maybe even the topic of the next show, and that being video marketing and figuring out how we can play a role as small business owners with our own content of driving more awareness to our brand, selling more of our products and services. And going back to that simple statistic is that in the next 2 years, 74% of all internet traffic will be video. Now, that's not broken down in this study any further. It just says that particular thing. But if a link is not shared as much as a video, and in fact, if a video is 1,200% times shared more often than just a link with text, we all should be considering how we put video content out there. I know that in some of the training that I've done, we decided to not just have the audio version. We created a lot of videos, and they're training videos. They're for veterans or for our high school kids, but they're really for any entrepreneur. And right now there's about 20 hours of content. We'll have probably 50 or 60 hours of content by the time we're done with that particular series. But the one that Shane and I are working on is really going to be short little snippets of how to grow your business, how to be engaged as an entrepreneur. And obviously one of those areas is what we're talking about today, and being involved with social media. Shane, as we go about those particular little video snippets, is there anything you want to throw out or ask the listeners on what they would like to see or have us comment on?
We're here to help them. That's our goal. So if there is a need out there and we're not meeting that need, let us know. I mean, that's what this is about. This show is about you and not you. But
well, wait, I thought this show was all about you. What are you talking about?
It is. That's why I said it's not about you. It's actually about our listening audience, and we want to hear back.
Thanks for that clarification.
But definitely, I'm excited. This new YouTube series that we're doing is going to be a lot of fun, but we want to make it something that's valuable to entrepreneurs and to people out there who are trying to build and grow and expand their business and make a difference in the world. So let us know how we can help.
Okay, just as a quick reminder too, daylight savings is coming up this weekend. We in Arizona do not change our time clocks at all, so the rest of you are going to spring forward. We will be on air live on our next show. It'll be at still at 11 a.m. our time in Arizona, but just remember that if you want to watch live and listen in and maybe even call in, that you're going to be springing forward 1 hour next time we're on air. Right now, though, as a quick kind of a countdown here as we wrap up the show today, as always, it's wonderful to have Shane Chance, my business partner, involved in this show. She's an amazing woman with a lot of wisdom to share, not just from a business perspective, but also from a female's voice. And I feel like it's a good balance when we can get not just you and me talking together, but also it's awesome to have Adam right here in studio with us too, with the comments and the wisdom that he shares. Shane, is there anything else you want to say as we wrap up?
Have an awesome week. Looking forward to our next show, and let's go knock them down.
Okay, that sounds like a great plan to me. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Entrepreneurs Radio Network show. My name is Brian Hazelgren. I'm here with Shane Chance on every show, and we want to give a big shout out again to all of the entrepreneurs of the world who listen in, who are looking to grow and expand their businesses or start and launch their business. Hopefully we can give you a few tools and things that'll help you. But we also want to say thank you again to our veterans, our active duty military personnel, and the families that support our military throughout the world, and especially here in America. Thank you very much for your service. We're looking forward to next week's show. Hope you have a great time today and the coming week ahead. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say, just that star spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land. I'm not afraid. You're the home of the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight you in name, the name of the brave. We are the U.S. of the